going to be recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. And the first thing we're going to do is the reorganization of the board. So I'd like to make a motion that we elect Ed as chair.
Second motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hey, thank you.
Okay. And do you want to do co-chair?
Yeah. Nominate Kathy for the co-chair.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And for secretary, nominate John.
I second. All in favor?
All in favor?
Senior.
Okay.
He's supposed to be junior the whole time. All right.
All right.
So that is all set then.
Okay.
So I'm going to pass that over to Ed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
I'd like to thank Alan Diaz to start off
Oh,
for chairing.
yes. I'd like to
He's a big,
second that.
yeah, he's a very big help. He'll be missed. All right, open up the hearing for 413 Plymouth Street. Anyone here for that? No? Caitlin, give us the
I have the,
quick rundown on that.
we gotta read the legal edit.
John.
Oh, you can.
He's the speed reader, that's why, no.
That's why
He's
I
like-
did.
I would have to use this.
Town of Halifax Conservation Commission notice is hereby given of a public hearing conducted by the Halifax Conservation Commission under the provisions of NGL Chapter 131, Section 40 Wetlands Protection Act and Chapter 164 of the Town of Halifax Wetlands Protection Bylaw on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025 at 7 p.m. at the Halifax Town Hall to consider the request for determination of applicability filed on June 23rd, 2025 by Jake Sullivan, Halifax, Mass. to allow the removal of a tree infested with carpenter ants and dropping limbs onto vehicles at the property located at 413 Plymouth Street, shown on Assessors Map 72, Lot 16-0. Copies of the filing are available at the Conservation Commission's office at the Halifax Town Hall per request via email peggyselter@halifaxmass.org or by calling 781-590-3872 or 781-293-6768. Halifax Conservation Commission, Commission Alan Diaz, Kathy Evans, Edward Lane, Paul Doucette, John Guillaume.
Can I have a motion to open the hearing for 413 Plymouth Street?
I make a motion to open the hearing.
And I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, unanimous. Caitlin, can you give us a rundown about 413 Plymouth Street, about the tree
Sure.
situation?
So, on June 17th, Jake came into the office concerned about a tree on his property that is infested with carpenter ants. And he's concerned that the limbs are going to fall on the cars parked in the lot. So I went down with him just to check out the tree that same day. And it does look like it is infested with the ants. So I told him, to file the RDA. So here we are today. And I just wanted to ask you guys if you are amenable to that tree coming down. And I do have actually, Jake provided me from the tree company. Let's see. Let me see. The Walnut Tree Services, it does mention the ant issue,
Okay.
so we do have that on file
All right.
as well.
On the ash. Oh, that's maybe, okay. You guys want-
The other trees here, are those not in the 50 foot?
No, they're not.
Okay, so those aren't, are they not in the 100?
No.
Okay.
Anyone else have any questions?
No.
Anyone in the public have any questions, remarks? All right. Can we have a motion to close the hearing?
Make a motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor to close the hearing?
Aye.
Aye. All right, the RDA here, RDA who's voting in favor of it?
I right, you're gonna make a motion to.
Motion to make,
Make a motion
Yes.
to accept the RDA for -3 determination?
Yes, that's what I would recommend.
Yeah.
second the motion, anyone?
Second.
Can I just make a comment?
Yeah.
You can add
Oh, no,
conditions
it's
if you
a-
want to determinations of applicability. In considering Jake's timeline, I have written up the DOA in the event that we did vote for -3, which we are. And I did add, because there's a box where you can add a condition if you want. And that's just to leave the stump, just cut the tree, leave the stump. That's usually typical, and most tree companies will, but just to have that in writing in our order.
So we add that to special order conditions? onto it,
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would recommend issuing a -3 determination with special condition to leave the tree stump in place.
Okay, can we have a motion to approve the removal of the tree with the special order conditions to make sure the tree stump is there?
I make the motion to remove the tree with the special order of conditions to leave the stump in place.
Any second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. We can sign that.
Yeah, I'll send that down the line.
Thanks. All right, now we're on to the discussions. Next on the agenda is 207 Plymouth Street. Did everyone receive that by email, the peer review from Ecosystems?
Yes.
There's a couple things on that Ecosystems concerned with, the flagging. Thank you. Is there anybody here for 207? From 207? No.
No, this is just,
Discussion.
yeah, making sure the board is all right and determining if we have everything we need for the hearing, which is scheduled for July 22nd.
You mentioned there was a problem with flagging?
Yeah, so Ecosystems went out there, and I guess what's listed here, you see the inland bank, that
Here.
kind of purplish line there. And then the other purple lines are the 100 and 200 foot.
Okay.
And then right here are the border vegetated wetlands.
Yep.
And I guess when they went out there, not all the flags were out there. So I forwarded this review to Webby Engineering just so they were aware. I asked them to read the comments. So that should be reflagged just so, you know, when we go out there to do our site visit, we can see exactly where that line is. And they did mention, so the inland bank is here, and they didn't flag the riverfront area, so they just asked them to also include that in the site plan as well.
The entire building is, almost the entire building is.
It's inside,
200 foot,
yeah.
And that's already all been previously disturbed before this, correct?
Yeah, and
Is this gonna be for a septic or?
just they're gonna want to add a deck to the back of the house.
The new septic,
The deck, yeah.
that's the,
That's the septic.
and
Oh,
this
is
new
it
deck,
proposed
this is
deck?
all the new deck here, yeah,
Which will be right in the
yep.
50.
But the
Well,
entire
not
house is
50.
already on it. So it's within 50 feet.
So
of this here.
150. So this part here is,
This is the 100, and this is within the 50 from here.
Okay, the whole house is inside.
The whole house is
Yeah.
inside the 100, and
Yeah.
most of it's inside the 50 anyways.
Yeah.
And the new deck is gonna go inside the 50.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Yeah, you sent an email to Webby to tell him the
Yes.
situation.
Yeah.
So I think we have everything else in order, but just we have to.
Yeah, we have, they submitted everything they needed. It's just now a matter of addressing ecosystems comments.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they may have to they'll have to update the site plan. And if riverfront is included, they will have to come back, because the NOI has a section that will ask how much is being built in the riverfront area, how much square footage. So if that is the case, they'll have to update the site plan and the NOI. So I sent it to him today just so he has, because he's scheduled for July 22nd. So if he can address that, he'll be good to go and we can review it. Instead of telling him, night of, like, hey,
Right.
they had these comments, so.
Anyone in the audience want to discuss 207? No? Okay, well, everyone's looking at me. Not used to this. Town big form, Edward or Ted Hayworth, is he here?
That is me.
Hey, how are you?
I am very well, thank you very much.
Please get up to the microphone, just gonna ask you a couple questions.
How you doing, Fred?
It should be on, I think it is. I don't think you heard an echo. You won't, because it be in the room.
It's going on TV, so you won't hear anything. Not this one.
Okay.
Okay, why would you like to join the Conservation Commission? What brought you,
I'm sorry.
why would you like to join the Conservation Commission?
I've been conscious of the environmental issues and conservation for about the last, ever since I got back from Vietnam. That was in '67. I've noticed countries, and they're starting to, finally, are starting to get onto the environment and especially conservation. I live in the park, and I've seen some of the things that shouldn't have happened happen down there.
Yeah.
And after the last one, I thought to myself, it needs some sort of control.
Yeah.
So I came up and saw Caitlin, found out some details, and put my paperwork in.
Have you ever, any experience with any other committees in the
I-
past or anything?
I was on the finance committee in Abington.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's see, that was probably about 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
That's way back in the past.
Yeah.
I was on the board of directors in the park. I was the first VP, and then I was a director. I was also on the board at Massachusetts Horticultural Society. I'm a master gardener, have been for 28 years, 29 years. And I was on their board out there, and they're extremely conscious of the environment.
Anyone else, anyone have questions from the board? No?
and we meet the second and fourth Tuesday of every month. and-
Yep. Do you have a set of, not rules and regulations, but know what the Environment Commission controls and does? Do you go out once a month and inspect certain areas?
Yeah, when things are brought to our attention, sometimes we go out, we have obviously an agent to check things out because she's here more than most of us, because we're
But do you
volunteers.
randomly go out and just to check?
We don't go on people's property
Not
randomly.
on people's property, but on public grounds.
Usually we don't, no.
Okay. Just.
No, that's fine. Good
As,
question.
As Mr. Diaz once told me, we're not cops, so we don't, go in patrol.
I understand, but you have the authority, if somebody's violating the rules, you have the authority
Yeah, to check it out,
to
obviously.
check it out and say, no, no, no.
Yeah, there's always different rules, especially if it's property, like, okay, we need permission to go on the property, well, trespass.
I
or anything like
understand.
that. There's a bunch of legal issues when you,
Yeah.
but yeah, we're pretty much like, okay, we get a complaint, we deal with we're a small town, everybody knows each other.
Yep.
So we don't want to just randomly go on people's properties and harass them. Like if something's brought to our attention, if something's, the DEP brings something to our attention, yeah, we'll check it out, try to investigate, see what's going on, but we tend not to try to, but I know everyone's business on their property, unless it's,
Okay.
We're primarily charged with enforcing the Wetlands Protection Act and the Halifax bylaws,
Oh, yeah.
wetlands bylaws.
Yeah.
So those are two things to make yourself familiar with. There's a great program through the Mass Association of Conservation Commissioners. I'm trying to get my certification right now. They offer courses every few months that introduces you to what the Wetlands Protection Act is, enforcement, how to write orders of conditions and things like that. So far it's been a great program. I've enjoyed it very much, but I have a few more classes to finish before I get my certification. Would strongly recommend it if you have the opportunity to take those classes.
and you'll be required to take some classes. Caitlin, you have to list
They're
them?
not required, but
Oh.
definitely very helpful. I know, like John said, it's very,
Yeah.
I actually just finished mine. It's a series of, there are 5 core classes, and then you have to take 3 elective classes, and then they'll give you a certification saying you took all your classes. So, yeah, very good stuff. Has been very helpful because this is my first position in conservation in municipalities, and it's been very helpful for me. In addition to the classes, they just offer support to agents and commission members. You can call them and with any questions, and they have conferences too. And John and I went to the spring conference, and it's just a great way to network and meet people in the field and just learn new things. So yeah, they're a great organization.
Oh no, I still got to do, even though I'm a master gardener, I have been for 29 years, I still have to do certain classes out
Yeah.
at Masswood.
Oh, yeah.
So I came onto this commission with no experience, so you have more experience being a master, gardener than I had.
Yeah.
So,
That'd be very helpful if you.
yeah.
Definitely. You'll be our vegetation guy.
Yeah.
You'll teach us a thing or two.
That's right.
Yeah, we're always learning.
No, I wear hearing aids, so you must,
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're always learning and
yeah.
never too old to learn.
Oh no.
And Ted, I do want to mention, your application is for an associate member.
Yep.
We actually have an opening now on conservation, so you could be a full-time member with us.
I'd still try to be the associate if you wouldn't mind.
That's your choice.
Unless you desperately need somebody full-time.
Yeah.
I can do it, I'm easily pleased.
Yeah, the associate usually goes to the meetings, observes and everything else, but you can also observe when you're on the board too. It's like, okay,
No, if you've got an open, I'll take it on.
all right.
No,
Thank you. We appreciate volunteering. A lot of people don't volunteer anymore.
I'm a brave man.
Yeah, so the commission can certainly recommend, because you would be elected by the select board.
Yeah, they make
They
the
oversee
decision.
that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
The selectmen make the decision. You'll go in front of them and everything else. Yeah, we'll take a vote or?
Yeah.
Make a motion to accept Mr. Hayward for the Conservation Commission as a member.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Good luck with this step 2.
I thank you very much, I appreciate it.
No, thank you.
Thank you, Ted.
Do I have to stay? Can I leave?
You can leave it right now. In a couple of weeks, you might not be able to leave, so leave.
We're looking after a 103-year-old gentleman at the moment.
Oh, okay.
God
Thank
bless,
you.
sir.
2 months, he's going to be 103.
Wow.
And that's Milton. Or is it you that's going to be 103? Won't be long. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda, it was brought to our attention 11 Ocean Ave about a chicken coop. I don't think that pertains to us, but
Yeah,
it's more of
so
a civil issue. And
we did receive a formal letter from the complainant with signatures from neighbors in regards to a chicken coop, and I believe there's 4 chickens in the two roosters and
Yeah.
1 chicken, 2 chickens, something like that. But it isn't in our jurisdiction. The coop is, I'll describe it as, it's really basically plywood against the front of the house. So, no earthwork was done to put the structure in. They just placed the plywood against the house, and there's a tarp over it. And it's really, I called DEP because I was like, well, yeah, I'm not really sure this is in our jurisdiction. So I checked with them, and they said, well, it sounds like it's not. And I did ask about, chicken waste too, and if runoff takes it into the pond, is that something we regulate? But the Wetlands Protection Act is kind of funny in that we're regulating the land under the pond, not the water itself. So unless we observed the chicken waste changing something in the pond, we can't really do something about it right now. So it's not something conservation can handle. It's more like a civil suit. Board of Health looked into it and their animal officer. So I just wanted to put this on our agenda just to get that out there because they did submit a complaint and just let them know it's not something we can regulate.
All right. 314 Plymouth Street, stormwater management permit update.
Yeah, so last we spoke, I've determined they did get their stormwater approval, but our stormwater management permit was never issued to them. So in thinking about the future when they go and close the project and want to get a certificate of compliance, how do they do that? Because I know there's a series of inspections that need to happen to make sure the stormwater is placed as it should and it's going to function properly. So what I'm doing is I've come up with a draft permit for them. And I did reach out to Casco, just explaining the situation. Alan and I had a meeting with them. So they were amenable to me writing a permit up. So I'm gonna put that on our agenda for the 22nd. So you guys can review it, make sure you're comfortable with it. If you're amenable to that, we can vote to approve. We can issue that to them. And then we can get Pat Brennan to do those inspections so that when the time comes, those inspections were done, we know it was done correctly, it's gonna function as planned, and they can close out eventually when they're ready.
All right, thank you. Any questions about that? Or anyone? Okay, 312, 314, 318 Plymouth Street. Water service, drainage issues, changing to the plans. Did we vote to not endorse any future permits in the last meeting?
Yeah, I believe you guys voted, the meeting I was absent, so that was June 24th, I think, to not issue any permits for 314 that I receive on the portal. However, I don't think we can do that if, it's a conservation issue or stormwater issue. Certainly, I can put it on hold and say, okay, anything in our jurisdiction, I can say, well, wait, we need this, hold on. I'm not signing off on anything until you give me X, Y, Z. But
Yeah.
if it's something that is not in our jurisdiction, I can push it along. And with the stormwater permit, they've been responsive to me and they're amenable to receiving this permit. That was not on them, and it was just sort of, there was no staffing and.
Yeah, it was a big issue.
Yeah, I think stormwater was kind of new to the commission, so there was some misunderstandings and it was no fault of theirs. So once they get the permit, everything will be settled. And Peggy did mention, she made a note that Tracy White may be present to ask questions regarding the stormwater permit. I don't see them there. I don't know specifically.
Who's Tracy?
I'm not sure. Peggy just said they came into the office asking about 314. I wasn't in, I think it was one of my Bridgewater days.
Okay.
So she just let them know, oh, go to the meeting if you have any questions, but I guess they are not present.
All right, 111 River Street, a couple of people made a visit there recently.
Yes. All right, so we went to 111 River on June 26th, so myself, Paul, and Kathy were out there, just because we hadn't been out there in a while, so we just wanted to check it out. And it looks about the same. You know, they're bumping out every once in a while. They do it every 5 feet. They have some sort of grid system that they use just so they can pinpoint where they're finding unexploded ordnances for their own purposes. But nothing really has changed since, you know, the last time we were out there. So, you know, they're just going to continue doing what they're doing. They estimated potentially being done but towards the end of July, but, you know, they're not sure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure of the threshold of when it's acceptable for them to stop. So, you know, maybe they're done then, maybe they're done in 4 or 5 months. I don't know. I don't know when they're able to stop their investigation and what's deemed acceptable with this type of thing. Because I don't know that they can find everything there is in that's buried there, so.
Yeah.
But even if when they do finish Halifax, they're then going into Middleborough, and they did say that they would still be using Halifax as a point of entry.
Yeah, entry and possibly
also for
exploding the items. And
Yeah,
they
which
set
makes,
up the cage.
yeah, it kind of makes sense that they would want to detonate in the same area because they have to test where they're detonating just to see if any of the chemicals that could be potentially released from the unexploded ordnances are in that area.
So they're all in the same area, so we're
Yeah.
not doing several areas. That's
So whenever they're done, they may still, they said probably the best option for them is to still go through Halifax to get to where they need to be and still use that area as their detonation area, so.
Yeah, the communication's been good still. Or,
Yes, yep.
yeah, that was an issue prior,
Yep.
so. All right, hopefully they finish up on that.
Yeah, and then one thing I wanted to mention, because I was in touch with Susan Jason from Wesson and Sampson. She's the LSP overseeing the project. She, I guess she spoke with our legal team, and they just had a comment about the amended order of conditions, specifically in our special conditions. So in our findings of fact, which is our very first paragraph, we mentioned that these special conditions from the original order are applicable with this amended order, because we had only 3 special conditions listed in our amendment. But that paragraph says the original also carry over. But they wanted to, I guess, make a clarification because number 9 on the original orders makes reference to daily reporting. And then number 3 on our special conditions in the amendment number 2. Periodic monitoring reports shall be submitted to the commission in conformance with the restoration monitoring section of the proposed restoration plan until a certificate of compliance is issued. So they just want to make a clarification in our findings of fact where it says that those special conditions from the original order carry over. They want to add, with the exception of that portion of the special condition 9 that requires the submission of daily reports, because that requirement has been replaced by special condition 2 of this amended order of conditions.
All right.
which, you know, I think makes sense. They just want to be clear, this is what's happening. And our condition in the amendment is saying that they're going to be reporting until they receive that certificate of compliance. So that's in
So we
there.
still get reports.
Yeah, nothing's changing.
Not that daily.
Yep. So I think their legal team just wanted to make that very clear, that number 2 kind of gets rid of number 9. So to me, that's a minor modification. You know, nothing with the work is changing, the
Yeah.
scope isn't changing,
It's just the reporting.
and nothing changes the reporting. They're still issuing as they are now. They also added in background, and this is also very minor, to recap, the purpose of, we wrote the order of conditions was to allow the investigation and cleanup of potential unexploded ordinances. They just added original to in front of order of conditions because that, you know, that's what we issued first. So in my opinion, I don't think it's necessary to have them come back, do the hearing for an amended order of conditions for this, because the scope isn't changing. They're still reporting as they are now. It's just language change in the special conditions to just make it clear that number 2 in our amendment is what they're following for reports.
Okay. Anyone have an opinion about that? I don't see a problem.
Yeah, the only problem I have with it is that periodic isn't defined, and so we don't, you know, it was supposed to be monthly. They were doing it monthly, but then Caitlin explained ecosystems got really far behind, you know, they get bombed. And so, you know, I understand that, but leaving it kind of ill-defined like that as periodic, you know, what's every 6 months, a year, if they're still doing this in 2 years, we only get reports every once a year. Weekly at that, you know, might be excessive, but at least monthly I would like to see. So I really prefer that defined a little better.
And I think with something like that, that would need to come back as an amended order. But I think that's something that probably should have been addressed at the original hearing. Ecosystems wrote this up because this was before I even started here, so that's why they issued the orders. I think that's probably something, you know, we should have caught, or Ecosystem should have caught, and requested, you know, maybe we should make that more specific when we're receiving these reports. So I get your concern because there was that line of communication was off for a while and they weren't getting back to us. But I think, do we go back and change that now? You know,
That would require a hold on hearing.
Right.
Have you talked to Ecosystems about this change, like the information?
yes, because originally Susan Jason reached out to Ecosystems. They were very busy.
Yeah.
So when I went out there, she talked to me and I said, well, why don't I talk to Brandon? And he said, well, if you want to take this over, sure, because he was kind of dealing with it because, like I said, they were the environmental monitors because this was happening before I even came here.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, I'd be happy to address it. I think that they're minor changes. I will say their communication has been better. Susan, you know, sometimes it takes a week to hear back from her, but she does get back to me. Like when we wanted to do the site visit, it took her a week, but she said, sorry, really busy, you know, let's schedule a time. So she has been in contact with me. If we ever want to do site visits, she'll make herself available. So I do think
So the
line of
communication's been obviously
yes,
much
it has
better. I know
improved.
we all were here at the beginning, which was not that good at all, so.
Yeah,
You know,
I'm just
obviously
concerned if we go back and say, oh, we want to change this to, you know, bi-weekly, is that fair to them? Because in my opinion, we probably should have addressed that at the first.
Would it be
Yeah.
a cost to them to have it changed? Or?
So we don't have filing fees for amended order of conditions, but they would have to pay the advertising fee and send out the abutters notices and do the meeting again. So that's at the discretion of you guys. I'm just, you know, giving you my opinion and whatever you guys
Yeah, we just
feel.
want to get this project over with and done instead of being held up with, okay, they can't do anything until.
Yeah. I do see what
Couple
you're saying,
meetings.
Yeah.
having something more concrete than.
Sure, but like Caitlin said, it should have been addressed at the time, and it's, Okay.
It's all a learning process for us, you know. Now we know for next time.
Hopefully we remember it. All right. Do we have to make any motions or anything?
So,
Okay.
depending on how you guys want to go about this, if you are amenable to the changes, you consider them minor enough that we
Yeah.
don't have to go through the hearing for another amended order, maybe just take a vote saying that you accept the
The
minor
changes.
revisions,
With
because
those.
then I can make these changes, reissue them, because as it stands now, they haven't recorded the amended orders because they were waiting on this language change and whether or not we would accept it or have them come back for a hearing. So if you guys are amenable to it,
Yeah.
take a vote, agree to it, I can change that and then get that to them and they can record.
Put a motion or a vote to accept the minor changes with the number 9 and number 2, was it?
So in the findings of fact, they're just adding special order condition 9
Yeah.
will be docked.
Docked. All right. And
Because
they go by number
our
2.
amended special order, number 2,
Number 2.
takes care of the reporting.
All right. All in favor of the minor changes?
Aye.
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 All right, we're all in favor.
All right.
All right, page 2. Can we have a motion to approve the bills?
Oh, go ahead.
I make a motion to approve the bills.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting minutes to be approved and signed, June 24th, 2025. Everyone get a chance to see them? Everyone good? Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes for June 24th?
Make a motion to accept June 24th meeting minutes.
Second.
And second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, that's all. All right, motion to adjourn at 7:38.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And our next meeting is the 22nd.